Right. We're going to be careful how we ask about this, but you obviously got to coach at a major, PGL Antwerp, right? The results didn't go great. It wasn't like a great finish. We're not going to talk about the matches or whatever, but what was it like to actually get to coach at a CSGO major? Because I've heard for the people who worked in 1.6, etc., where the game wasn't as huge, not everything was not. I've heard it like a lot of people that they wish they'd had the chance to compete in this kind of a circuit and see what the modern day shit's like.
Yeah, it was a good experience. It was great. To be honest, I just enjoyed it. Right, not too many complaints, but it is just something different, right? It's great to be a part of. You know, in my day, the events weren't that big, and all that stuff. The money was not that big, so it's just like huge, so many good teams as well. So much prestige, so much, you know, the feelings and the heartbreak every team goes through when they're out, and how you cope with it and handle with it. It's just a great experience. Personally and coaching wise as well.
Right, the main tournament I obviously want to ask you about was IEM Cologne. Like, even though in the modern day it's not a major, I always say this, there's the majors and then there's Katowice and Cologne. Those are like the events after that where it's like people do want to win these, like they want to win a major. People want to be in Cologne because it's the Lanxess Arena when you get to the playoffs. That's a big deal for people. It is like one of the legendary Counter-Strike arenas, and your team obviously had this top 4 run there, which was pretty big when you consider at the time the scene was still pretty good. Like a lot of top tip FaZe, Na'Vi were all still on top. We had some really good lineups. So on this run, your team had to beat so many of the bigger names. Like you beat the Furia team, Cloud9. You obviously played against like FaZe and Na'Vi, the two best teams. Like, what would you say about this run? Like, what were some of the factors that allowed it to happen? What was it like during it? Because obviously in your time period in Astralis, you didn't get the best players. You weren't like some team that was supposed to be top 5 or top 4. So I wondered what allowed this run to happen, do you think?
I think we just, we had some trouble with consistency and, maybe the individual level across the board. And at this point, I just think, every player just chimed in a little bit more than it used to. Because I think we did well with what we had. And we also, like when we were playing, we also won a lot of practice. Not that it matters, but we could feel it when we were playing well. We played actually pretty well, even though we were getting bashed by the media for like a year straight because we're Astralis. I think we had some good matches. People are just expecting so much from this team, no matter what. But when we're looking back our games and watching how other teams played, I actually think it looked pretty decent compared to a lot of teams. So we just had a nice run, some good plans, and everybody just chimed in. And unfortunately, we lost the game to Na'Vi. It was the end.
I mean, if people don't know, there was one map there, the second map, where it was like overtime, and in that scenario, you just want to see the third map. You want to see what would happen if we just got to play that last map, right?
Yeah, it was a tough one. The T-side Mirage in that time it was a tough one. It was a fun game, though. It was a tough one, to be honest, because, it's always like you feel you are throwing the game right when you're on the head, but you're not really throwing it because you're still on the weaker side on the Team Mirage. There was a lot of insane CT sides at that time, like some really bangers. So we knew it was going to be difficult, and we just couldn't manage to pull it off. It would have been fun, but also like you never know what would have happened on the third map. But I guess we got a good end to it anyways. The map intense one.
True.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.